Welcome to the Katalon Studio demo session from MindMajix team. I have close to 16 years of experience in the software testing industry. I have delivered a lot of training programs across the industries, almost like 12 years. And in fact, even now I have been delivering corporate training programs to different MNCs in India and abroad in terms of classroom trainings for experienced people, for freshers, induction batches, lateral batches, even to Scrum Masters, AWS architects, or test managers, delivery managers on different topics. And coming to my relationship with MindMajix, we are going pretty strong together, and we had delivered a lot of training programs on different subjects of software testing. And coming to Katalon Studio, we have been doing a wonderful job in terms of delivering Katalon Studio training, and we are one of those very limited institutions or organizations who are delivering a fantastic training on Katalon Studio, because I have close to 3 years of experience alone on Katalon Studio. And coming to Katalon Studio, it is a very new tool in the market, and it's probably 4 years since the tool has come into the market. And in the last 3 years, I have been successfully and continuously working on this tool for few of my customers, and thus I feel, I'm very much profound in Katalon Studio. And I would also like to call myself as an entertainer plus trainer, which becomes entertainer. So the way I teach is completely with passion, with a lot of fun, and of course, my teaching always points from the roots, from the basics or the essentials of the subject, and then we scale up slowly so that any participant can probably become a hero towards the end of the training program. Now, maybe I can say, from zero to hero is what the training has been designed to help every person understand Katalon Studio automation. So this is the course curriculum that I have prepared for Katalon Studio. So let me open this document. I had already opened this. So this is the industry standard course content which I had prepared. This is pretty much compatible or pretty much suited with the expectations of the job market, the expectations of the clients or the organizations. And towards the end of this program, we also have a objective assessment which has around 25 to 40 questions, which are like frequently asked questions and something related to, the interview questions. So that's something which we are doing from MindMajix team towards the end of the course. And this course has been designed for 24 hours, 1 hour per day, or even we can have 2 hours per day depending on the participant's interest. So these are the business objectives with which the course has been designed. So the one of the business objectives is ensure that the participants understands the concepts of software test automation. What is automation? Why do I need it? Why are we going for automation? And why Katalon Studio? So from second business objective to fifth business objective, it is all about understanding the real estate of Katalon Studio tool. How do I use this tool for automating web-based application or API-based application or Windows-based applications or mobile apps? And then we also talk about how do we establish a framework within Katalon Studio that I can reuse for the next project or the next module or the upcoming test cases. And towards the end of it, if you see business objective 5, we're going to talk about how do we generate nice HTML test reports or PDF reports or a CSV report which is shareable to my customer or to my manager or to your developers. Okay. So these are the business objectives with which the course has been designed. And coming to the course syllabus, I have actually distributed the entire course into a couple of chapters to make it very easy for everyone to understand. So course 1 is all about basic introduction and getting started, which essentially is the same discussion that we are having right now. Right? The day 0 discussion is my chapter 1. So in chapter 1, we are going to focus on what is the Katalon Studio, why should I use this tool, what is the tool used for. And in chapter 2, we are going to focus upon the download and the setup process, what is the lab setup that we need, what are the different products that we are going to download. Right? So chapter 1 and chapter 2 together, if I have to just take you to the Katalon.com website. So this is the Katalon.com website. So Katalon is a product-based organization in US, and they have been doing a fantastic job, of course, by releasing Katalon Studio tool in the market. And this tool is definitely a one-stop automation solution for your web-based applications or API automation or mobile app automation or desktop applications. There is no tool in the market which can do 4 types of automation. It is only Katalon Studio tool which is capable of automating your Windows-based applications, your API applications, the mobile applications, and web-based applications. Here you can see on the home page. Okay? And coming to Katalon Studio, there are different products Katalon team actually supports. So these are few of the products: Katalon Studio, Katalon TestOps, Katalon Recorder, Katalon, and Katalon Store at the bottom. So these are the tools that we are going to learn in this particular course. So that's about my chapter 1 and chapter 2. And in chapter 3, we are going to focus more on understanding the graphical user interface or the real estate of Katalon Studio tool. Understanding what are the different options that we have in the Katalon Studio and, becoming familiar with it. So I have already opened Katalon Studio tool. Here, if you see, I was working on one of a small test case here. And so in the real estate, we are going to talk about this test explorer. We are going to talk about the execution panel. We are going to see about the troubleshooting and debugging panel. We're going to see about the quick explorer window. And on the right hand side, you have keywords, browser, properties, and so on. And towards the right side, we also have the execution window and the job progress window. So there are a lot of features that are available in Katalon. So chapter 3 focuses on making these explanations pretty much clear so we can understand what is Katalon Studio real estate. That's my chapter 3 for you guys. Chapter 4 is all about how do I create an automation test in Katalon Studio. And there are 3 modes that are available in Katalon Studio. One is to record and playback just like any other tool, just like Selenium has got Selenium IDE, Integrated Development Environment, or QTP also has their own record and play tool, right? Which is now called as UFT tool, right? So we also have the similar option in Katalon Studio. There is a record mode. There is a manual mode wherein we will manually write the automation scripts. There is a keyword driven testing, which we are going to talk about. And then we also have script-based testing, which is in Groovy language. And this Groovy language is pretty much similar to Java language. I mean, if you are just familiar with the programming knowledge that you studied in your college days, I think that is good enough for us to start this automation course. It is not mandatory that you need to be an expert in Java scripting or Groovy language. The basic understanding of Java is more than sufficient to start with the course, and as we start the course and start making progress, we can learn Groovy language online as well. It's not that difficult. Chapter 6 focuses on a couple of demos for us on each of these modes. So we are going to take practical examples and start doing this. And at the same time, let me reiterate the fact that this course is 99% practical training course, 1% theory of course. Chapter 7 focuses on a new concept called as test suite. The test suite is essentially a combination of logically related test cases. That's what we heard in manual testing as well, right? So we can also create test suites in Katalon Studio. So here you have test suites, if you see. I have created a couple of test suites for a few of my projects and training programs. So this test suite enables us to club 1 or 2 more test cases and run them as a batch. So we're going to talk about test suite and advantages of it. Then we have another important concept called as test suite collection. Test cases when grouped together is called as a test suite. Now when test suites are grouped together, it becomes test suite collection. Now this test suite collection is a very fantastic feature and an easy feature offered in Katalon Studio tool. With the help of which we can execute multiple test suites sequentially or parallelly on different browsers at the same time. So if I have 100 test cases, I can execute 100 test cases on Chrome browser and also on Firefox browser and also on Safari browser or Internet Explorer at the same time. Parallelly, I can execute on 4 browsers or 3 browsers or 2 browsers or 100 browsers as long as your computer configuration supports it. So that's a fantastic feature given by Katalon. The same feature is also available in Selenium. It is called as Selenium Grid. But Selenium Grid is pretty expensive in terms of configuring. You have to invest a lot of time, energy, effort in making the Selenium Grid successful in terms of configuration. Now, probably 6 years before when I was doing this, or 6 to 8 years before when I was configuring Selenium Grid for the first time, I had to invest almost 1 day to troubleshoot it and to set it up. But in Katalon Studio, it is hardly a 3 minutes job. Literally 3 minutes or less than 3 minutes job. So that is the beauty of test suite collection. So I will just show you the feature directly on the tool, though you may not understand it, but you can probably see. So this is my test suite collection. If I just open this, it opens up on the editor. Yeah, you can see here test suite collection, and here I can decide whether I want to do it a parallel execution or sequential execution, and here I can decide how many parallel browsers can be opened. So when I say 8 at the maximum, only 8 browsers can be opened. I can edit it as well. I can change 8 to any number I want. Okay, and of course here you can choose. So this is my test suite 1. I want a test suite to run on Chrome Headless. Test suite 1 also should run on Firefox Headless. Test suite 1 also should run on IE. Test suite 1 also should run on Safari parallel. So the same test suite, which has a couple of test cases inside, all these test cases will be running on 4 different browsers. So this is for how I do compatibility testing, browser compatibility testing. And it's a pretty easy job in Katalon Studio. So more about test suite collection, of course, we will talk in back to the course. Chapter 9 focuses on the reporting part. So how do we generate different kinds of reports? CSV reports, HTML reports, JSON report, and maybe PDF reports, which I will do it shortly as well and will show it to you. How do we send results via email? That's my chapter 10. So after your execution is completed, you might want to send your automation reports directly to your email inbox or to your manager or customer or developers or co-testing. You can do it manually, but I will teach you something which is an automated process. So once you configure this automation or do some configuration, the emails will be sent automatically. And you can also configure whether the email should go only when the test case has passed or only when the test case has failed or both the conditions. We'll look at that in chapter 10. So chapter 11 is Katalon Analytics, which is actually today called as TestOps. This is a new product launched by Katalon team wherein I can see different reports online. So I'm just showing you my TestOps login screen. And you guys can see here the different reports that are actually generated here. So if I just go to one of my projects, right? I'll go here to the projects that I have created. So here I can see all the reports coming up on my executions. So once you have access to this product, Katalon TestOps, of course I'm going to teach you even this product. We can see all the execution reports directly over here. Test suite by test suite or test suite collection. I can see the number of test cases executed, number of test runs executed. You can do a comparison, how many passed and failed you can capture, and you can also generate some nice TestOps reports as well in terms of, maybe if you wanted to know the test run performance. If you click on this, there is a template offered by Katalon Studio and you will get a report based on that. So these are the number of test executions I'm doing on a daily basis. If you want it on a weekly basis, you can filter it per week. You can also filter it per month. So this is one report we have, and probably if I go to TestOps again. So let me go back to the TestOps reports and let's talk about test case performance. So this is the number of test cases that we had executed on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis. Okay. So we can look at all these kind of reports and how do we generate this. So of course this tool and Katalon Studio tool has to be integrated and we are going to see the integration as well. Chapter 12 focuses on the execution environment. So how do we ensure that Katalon Studio automation and the script that we have generated will work on a QA environment, on a dev environment, and on a production environment or a UAT environment. So these are the profiles that we can create. So I can create different profiles like QA, production, pre-production, and so on. And how do I execute the same test case on a different environment? Here I can choose the environment and I can execute the test case pointing to that environment. So this is what we are going to discuss in execution environments. Chapter 13 is another tool called as Katalon Recorder. This is a Chrome-based tool. And of course, the same thing is also available as a, Firefox plugin as well. But let me show you the Chrome plugin that we have. Right? So the plugin is somewhere over here. Yeah, so this is the plugin that I have. So when I click on this, it opens up the Katalon Recorder tool. It's a Chrome plugin. The same plugin is also available on Firefox. Recently they have released it. So this interface is similar to Selenium IDE. And here you can see all the commands that Katalon Studio supports. If you want to store a variable, you go for this command. And probably if you are doing something else, there are so many commands available. To open a browser, you type in open and the browser will be open. So there are so many commands that Katalon team, the Katalon Recorder is supporting us. We will also learn at a higher level this tool. Though this tool is not necessary, but we will still talk about this Katalon Recorder Chrome plugin. The reason I'm saying this is not necessary is because Katalon Studio is very important rather than the Katalon Recorder. But still we'll talk about that. Chapter 14 focuses on the recording options and how do we spy on the objects. Katalon tool provides us an option called as recording the applications. So if you want to spy on the web-based application, I use this spy web tool. So when I use this spy web tool, this will initialize an object spy window with the help of which I can spy on different objects on any web-based application and capture their web locator element techniques such as name, ID, type, link text, partial link text, XPath, CSS, neighborhood XPath, and so on. Okay, so we can capture a lot of properties using this object spy. This topic will be covered in my chapter 14. Chapter 15 is a continuation of my chapter 14. Chapter 16 talks about headless browsers. I'm not sure if you have heard of headless browsers, but that's relatively not a new topic. It's something pretty old. Now any browser you see, right? For example, if I open this browser, Chrome browser, I can physically see it with my eyes. You also can see it. Now when you can see the browser, it is called as a browser with head or a head browser. These browsers consume a lot of random access memory, CPU utilization, disk input output operations per second on the disk. There is also a concept of headless browser, which means the browser will be running in the background and you cannot see the browser. So currently Katalon supports two types of headless browsers, Chrome headless browser and Firefox headless browser, which I can show it here. So if I take you to one of my test case, so you can see here Chrome headless and Firefox headless. So when you click on that Chrome headless or Firefox headless, the execution happens in the backend and you cannot see anything on the screen. But Katalon Studio can probably see that browser, and using the log viewer in Katalon, we can know how the execution is happening, whether it is a successful execution or a failure execution. And we'll talk about headless browsers definitely in the course. And even in performance testing, the concept of headless browsers is extensively used. Chapter 17 focus on the command line execution or integration with DevOps tools such as Jenkins or Docker. Though we are not going to talk about Jenkins and Docker in this course, whatever commands that are necessary to integrate with your Jenkins tool, those commands will be discussed. And how do I execute my automation scripts from the command prompt even without launching Katalon Studio? That will be discussed in my chapter 17. So chapter 16 and chapter 17, the advantages are the computer resources will not be extensively used, which means your random access memory will be freed. The CPU utilization will also be freed. So that's the advantage of my headless browsers and command line execution. We'll talk about that in depth in the course. Chapter 18 is all about reusability. So if I write a test case, how do I reuse the test case in the next test case or in other project? We're going to talk about that in chapter 18. Chapter 19 is my data-driven testing. If I have a login scenario, I automated my login, but I wanted to test it with multiple username combinations, multiple password combinations. So I will pass the test data from an Excel sheet or a CSV file, or directly I will give the data to Katalon Studio, or from my database I will give the data. We will cover all these four concepts of data-driven testing in my chapter 19. Chapter 20 talks about checkpoints. So checkpoints are essentially some snapshots that we take of my test data. So tomorrow when someone changes the content in the test data, so if the database data is also changed, the table data is changed, my checkpoints in Katalon will throw me an error. So checkpoints are like you take a picture of it and keep it somewhere. In the next build you get from the developer, you will compare the new build versus the previous snapshot you take. If it has failed, developer changed something. If it has passed, developer didn't change anything. So that's my chapter 20. Chapter 21 is Katalon Store and Katalon plugins. So this is another product from Katalon Studio. If you see here at the bottom, you have Katalon Store. Katalon Store is another product. So this store can be thought of like Google Play Store or Apple App Store. So most of the additional plugins which will enhance the functionality of Katalon Studio will be available in Katalon Store. Currently you are seeing the Katalon Store. There are plugins which are available for free, which you can install it. There are few plugins which are for paid. So if you see this Auto Healing Smart XPath, one of the mostly used XPath plugins, this is not a free one. This is a paid one. But the good thing is Katalon Studio gives it for 30 days for free. Okay, I think 30 days should be good enough for us to practice anything, right? So you can say here, try it free for 30 days. So I can install this and enhance the functionality of my Katalon Studio. So you might have this question, who is writing the plugins here? Two people, maybe one, the Katalon team itself are doing this on the Katalon Store. Two, any freelancer who is very good at automation, he or she might be uploading their plugins to Katalon Store. So we're going to talk about this Katalon Store and couple of plugins in our course. Chapter 22 is all about debugging and troubleshooting. How do you troubleshoot your tests when they fail? Chapter 13 is also an extension of chapter 22. Chapter 24 is custom keywords. So how do I write my own keyword, my own script, which will be a keyword tomorrow, and I can share keywords to Katalon team or to my developers in the organization. That's a very fantastic concept, very easy concept. We're going to talk about custom keywords development in chapter 24. Chapter 25 is all about how do I take a video, how do I take a screenshot when the application execution has failed, and how do I send it automated. That will be discussed. Chapter 26 is variables concept in Katalon Studio, where we are going to talk about the different types of variables, such as a global variable, a private variable, a local variable. How do we use it in Groovy language? That will be discussed. Chapter 27 is all about listeners and annotations. So if you are a Selenium automation engineer, you might have heard of TestNG framework. So in TestNG, we have the annotations concept, such as before test case, after test case, before test suite, after test suite, before class, after class. We have a similar concept in Katalon Studio as well, and that is called as your listeners. Very easy topic and a very useful topic for developing a framework. We're going to talk about that into the course. Now from chapter 28 onwards, we are going to talk about the API testing using Katalon Studio tool. So chapter 28 focuses on what is API testing, how do I do API testing in Katalon Studio. Chapter 29 focuses on how do I test SOAP APIs using Katalon Studio. Chapter 30 focuses on how do I test REST APIs using Katalon Studio. Chapter 31 gives introduction towards the HTTP methods and so on. Chapter 32 is how do I test APIs using test suite and test suite collection. So if you see, till my chapter 27, the focus is completely on the web-based applications. From chapter 28 onwards, till chapter 32, the focus is on APIs, REST APIs and SOAP APIs. Finally, we have the last chapter, which is chapter 33, miscellaneous. This is where we are going to talk about some common examples that most of the students ask me, or you might ask me a question. Those things will be discussed in chapter 33. Case study assignment. Towards the end of the training program, we have a hands-on assignment as well to you guys. Who can attend this training program? A fresher can attend, a graduate can attend, a manual test engineer who wants to shift their career to automation testing can attend, the developers can attend, and the project managers too can attend, because the course has been designed to ensure that everyone benefits from this. And the prerequisites are, basics of manual testing and a little bit idea on automation testing is essential to proceed further. And coming to the course highlights, right? Now we are going to talk about live projects. There are so many applications that I take on projects, okay, which I'll show you shortly anyways. And coming to myself, I have like 16 plus or 17 plus years of experience. So you will definitely get some good enough exposure from me in terms of what the market expectations are, how the jobs has to be cracked in the interviews. And we also have one-to-one training programs sometimes, depending on the situations. And this is the lab setup that I have given here. Your laptop is more than enough to start working on Katalon Studio. We don't need a very big lab setup, but I have given the industry standard lab setup for Katalon Studio. So this is my course content, guys. So today's agenda, I spoke already half of it in what I was showing right now, right? So you have seen the introduction to Katalon Studio products I have shown you right now. And why should you use this Katalon Studio tool, right? Maybe you have a question. Did I make a right choice by opting for Katalon Studio? So if you see, this is the Google Trends, which I picked 2 days before, and this is a worldwide trend from the last 12 months. This is how people are searching for in Google for Katalon Studio topic or Katalon Studio automation. If you see here, people are searching even 100%. It has searched 100% couple of times, right? And this tool is gaining a lot of traction in the sense, lot of importance and momentum in the market, US market, Canada market, and Indian market as well these days. This is something which I took from trends.google.com, and country-wise also have taken a screenshot. You can see here how the trend is showing in different countries on the usage of Katalon Studio. And I think there were 2 slides. I think we discussed about that Katalon can be used for testing desktop applications, API, mobile, and web. That's why this tool makes it pretty easy for anyone to talk about that. And here there are some statistics that I have taken. See, by the end of 2018, so like 2 years before, 40% of the organizations have started using Katalon Studio, and Katalon Studio company says that the usage will be 80% by the end of 2020. And of course, there is evidence for this as well. Now, till 2019, Katalon Studio was offered as a free product till version 6. Now we are having version 7.5.5, which is the latest version, and this is a paid product. The same version is also available for free lifetime, but still there is an enterprise version for organization, because Katalon Studio understood that people started adopting the product, so they have released the paid version as well, and people are going for that as well. Coming to the different certifications available, from the MindMajix perspective, once you complete course from us, we will issue a course completion certificate, which of course has a value in the market, because most of the organizations are aware of the brand and the brand power of MindMajix. And in case if you are looking for an automation certification, then there is a certification available from ISTQB industry body, and it's called as Test Automation Engineer. And you also have another certification that's called as Certified Automation Functional Test Engineer, and this is offered by another organization called as vSkills. So vSkills is pretty much good in the market in terms of giving certifications to the people. So some information I have written here for your benefit. So the examination will be for 60 minutes. The number of questions are 50, and you have to get at least 50% marks to get the certificate. There is no negative marking, which is a fantastic thing for all of us. There are 70 exam centers throughout India. I'm talking about vSkills, by the way. So when they have 70 exam centers, I believe vSkills has got its own importance in the market. And the fee is around 3,499 rupees, which is close to $120, I believe. Okay? You can go through this link to get more details about this certification in the market. Now let me take some random topic and show you. So this is one of my execution on the parallel browsers execution, which I was talking about, right? So let me go back to my Katalon Studio tool, and what I would do is I will pick up any project. Let me just change it to one of my projects. I'm just shifting from this project to one of the previous projects. And in the course, we are going to talk in detail in terms of how do we set up a project, how do we set up test cases, test suites, test suite execution, test suite collection, and collection execution. A lot of things are there. And trust me, this is going to be fun working with Katalon Studio because the tool has got its own graphical user interface. So it is going to be pretty easy for us. So if I take one of my test suite collection here, let's say I'll take this test suite collection. It looks like I have a lot of test cases over here. I mean, test suites over here. Right? Or else what I'll do is, let me create a new test suite. So you'll at least see the process of creating it. I'll call it as test suite underscore demo. And what I'll do is, I will decide what test cases I want to achieve. So maybe I wanted to have this test case 10 here. Test case drag and drop, test case 14 Cura. Okay, so that should be more than enough. Now I'll save my changes. I'll go to test suite. I'll create another test suite collection. I'll call it as test suite collection underscore. And here I will bring in my test suite demo. Let us say I want to execute this test suite couple of times. I mean, on different browsers. Right? So let me say I wanted to have it one more time. So the same test suite I have added 2 times. The first one will execute on Chrome. The second one will execute on Firefox. Okay. And I'm selecting both the checkboxes so they will be executed. Now if I click on run button or if I click on execute here, the test cases will be executed parallelly on Chrome and on Firefox. I have to just make it parallel here. I'll save the changes and I'll click on execute button. Now Firefox is a heavy browser, so launching Firefox might take a few seconds extra as compared to my Chrome browser. But then I'll show you parallelly how this execution is happening. It's a quick demonstration I'm showing. There is a lot of setup that I had done earlier, with the help of which currently my test suite and test suite collection will pass or will get executed. There might be failures as well in case if there are some mistakes I made in my test cases intentionally, so that I can show the failures as well. So this is the job progress window that we get where it says running the test suite collection. So my Katalon Studio framework is now getting initialized, and here at the bottom you can see the log viewer. You can see the information of what is currently happening with my screen. Okay? This is my job progress window as well. You can also see the information in the console, what exactly is happening. Yeah, now the Chrome browser has opened. So what I'll do, I'll just minimize it like this. So whatever test cases I have inside that, those things will be executed. So this is one of my authentication test case I gave. Firefox is yet to open, so please wait. Firefox will usually take time on any computer. So one of my test case is completed with Chrome browser, but Firefox is still getting launched. Yeah, now the Firefox has come. Let me just do this like this so you can see it, both the browsers. So this is my Chrome browser, you can see here. And this is the Firefox browser on the left hand side. So what's happening here is a couple of test cases are getting executed both on Chrome browser and Firefox browser, and it is happening parallelly. So I'm actually doing my browser compatibility testing. Maybe if I shut down all my applications and do it, it would have been much better, but that's okay. At least we can understand and we can see the launch of different browsers at the same time. So this is a healthcare application that I'm using, and it's all automated currently, where we make an appointment. So the execution will take a couple of minutes. So maybe let's wait for 1 to 2 minutes to get this execution completed. So an appointment has been booked automatically. Now the application logs me out. Now the Firefox application has opened after Chrome is completed. So Chrome is usually considered a fast browser, a lightweight browser compared to Firefox. Firefox is heavy in general. So the drag and drop scenario, you can see that these items are getting dropped, and it's through automation. I'm not doing it. Okay. Now here if I scroll down, this is my execution log, and if I see here my job progress window, it is still running, and you can see here that a CSV report is generated, HTML report is generated, and start generating PDF report. The Firefox browser also opened. In the last test case of my test suite, which is the healthcare application that we take. So this healthcare application is a demo application offered by Katalon Studio. So we'll use the same application. It has almost all the different options like checkboxes, drop downs, calendar icon, text box, buttons, login, logout process. If I click on job progress, I'll come to know whether my execution is completed or not. So we can see here the execution status. I think it's almost completed now. I go to log viewer. So here you can see that there are 3 runs that I have done and all the 3 has passed. Failures are 0, errors are 0, skips 0. It's a green bar. It looks like the execution is completed. It's almost in the last leg of generating some reports. I have done some settings in terms of automating the email execution process, uploading the reports to Katalon TestOps, Katalon Test Analytics tool. So this one. The reports will be updated to this tool, centralized tool, so my manager can also see it. Okay. So you see here, upload report it says. Upload report test suite collection. So it is uploading the reports to my Katalon TestOps tool. That's why it is taking time. Now I'll also show you the different reports that we have generated. So under the reports tab, I can see the reports. So I can see the latest reports over here. So if I just say open containing folder, the folder has opened. There is a video file that has got generated. The AVI file has got generated. So if I play it with my VLC player, I have done a configuration that please record the video of my execution as well. So if there is any failure, I can show it to my developers as evidence. And I am not recording it. Katalon Studio is recording it automatically. So we can see the video of my execution process. So this is one video that's getting played. Let me just close that. There is a second video that got generated and a third video that got generated because there are 3 test cases, right? So 3 videos will be generated. And if I come here, I can show you my PDF report as well. So this is the PDF report that got generated. So the authentication test case passed, drag and drop passed, Curate Healthcare also passed. And here if I come down, I get the detailed steps like open browser is successful. It took 28 seconds. Authentication is successful. Verifying the text is correction passed. Taking the video has passed, and so on. So all my test cases and the code will be shown here. See, the screenshot is also taken here of my pass. So this is a nice PDF report that we can generate and send it to my developer. And we are not doing, we are not taking it, we are not doing any additional configurations. And if you are interested in a HTML report, open HTML report. So you can also see a HTML report which is shareable to your customers. You can simply say expand all and the report will be completely expanded. So this is a nice intuitive report which I can share with my customer as well. It has all the test steps, all the execution status as well. If you are interested in a CSV file, you can open a CSV file with the help of which we can understand the statistics of my execution report. CSV may not be that great as your PDF and HTML, but still the requirement is a PDF document. You can use this. Okay, so this is my CSV report I can see here with all the data. This was something that I thought I'll show it to you guys in one of the random topics, so you'll understand the beauty of Katalon Studio. So there is no headache in terms of doing parallel execution or generating reports, but in other tools, you have this lot of coding to be done, lot of configuration to be done, but it's a minute's work in Katalon Studio tool. Okay, and coming to the projects that we are focusing in this course is Katalon Cura Healthcare application and Orange HRM and MindMajix website application. Of course, we can take any application for demonstration, but let me quickly show you the applications that I'm concentrating for the projects. So this is one open source HR application which we are going to use for automation. Then we have a healthcare application which we are going to use. So if I click on make appointment, I can log in and book an appointment. This also can be used for our automation process. Then we have another application called Blaze Demo. This one, Blaze Demo, also can be used for our automation process. That's about the projects. We will take different applications as examples. We will even take MindMajix.com or any other website like Katalon.com to achieve a couple of automation possibilities. And this is the lab setup details which I was talking about earlier, right? So you need a regular Windows operating system. Windows OS 7 or higher is preferred. Minimum 8 GB RAM would have been is much better because you might be running parallel browser execution as well, right? So 8 GB RAM is better, and at least a 2 GHz computer processor is necessary. Okay. Of course, we need to have internet to start working on Katalon Studio automation. That's my lab setup for you. And coming to the additional resources. Towards the end of the training program, there is an objective assessment which we are going to give you. And we are also going to provide you an Katalon Studio Automation MindMajix booklet, which also have it here. So this is the booklet I was talking about. So this is close to 223 pages document, which has all the information about Katalon Studio tool. And this is like a 3 months old document. So I just prepared this 3 months before. So this is up to date. Okay. As of today, it is 3 months old. We will share this booklet document as well. And whatever test cases we automate, the scripts will also be shared with you guys. And MindMajix team will help you with sample resume preparation as well. And we will help you to, how to prepare a resume that will be attractive in the market. If you are interested, I can give you a resume format depending on your experience, which in the market will cost you around 3,000 rupees, Indian rupees, but we will do it for free of cost in MindMajix team in terms of giving a very professional resume. Now, in case if there are any questions to you guys, I would request you guys to reach out to info@mindmajix.com, or you can reach out on the phone. We have listed 2 phone numbers at the footer of this page, India number and USA number. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And MindMajix technical support team will route those questions to me and I will be able to answer your questions. Thank you for joining this demonstration class. And if you have any valuable feedback, please do pass your feedback to info@mindmajix.com, and we would receive your feedback in a constructive way and start working towards the feedback to help different participants benefit from the demos and benefit from the course that they take from MindMajix.com. Okay. Thank you very much for joining this demonstration class. All the best, guys. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.